This is Silkit from Singapore Cruise Center. Very happy and delighted to be on this EDA Summit 2024 panel of speakers. My topic today is Cruising into the Future, Singapore Cruise Center's EDA-Powered Digital Transformation. So from my synopsis, I'm going to talk about how we modernize our terminal, our infrastructure and application. I want to share my journey and also insights, especially in the area of data sharing and event-driven architecture. And eventually, I want to talk about some key takeaways so that all of us can learn. I also can learn, right? On our experience in the journey, how we overcome problems, and how we achieve our objective at the end of the day. So this is what I'm going to cover in the next 20-25 minutes. A quick background, who we are, the Singapore Cruise Center. How are we transforming ourselves, right? Why is data important, right? And how do we transfer data? And this is where the EDA concept come into being. And why standardizing data transfer is so important, right, as part of our journey. And of course, I will summarize to give some key takeaways so that we can just remember this particular slide at the end of the presentation. Now, Singapore Cruise Center, who are we, right? We were actually part of the Port Authority of Singapore way back in the 1980s. We manage and operate international cruise and regional ferry terminals since 1991. Very similar to that, the airport for air. So we are the terminal operator for sea. We were part of Temasek in 2003, and recently we were transferred to Mapletree, as 100% ownership from 2018. And our presence in Singapore comprises of three terminals, two gateway terminals into Singapore, Malaysia, and the Raja Islands, Indonesia, and one domestic terminal to Bukom Island in Singapore. And we also host two berths for cruise ships, the small to mid-size cruise ships calling at our port. And of course, we can't run away from revisiting our vision and mission. Our vision is to be the world's leading cruise and ferry terminal operator and be international partner of choice in overseas cruise and ferry terminal management and consultancy. And our mission is to provide efficient, innovative, safe cruise and ferry terminal services and to add value to the waterfront developments. And this vision mission is very important, and they are the driving force behind the digital transformation of Singapore Cruise Center in the past 3 years. But along the way, we hit some high seas, challenges, the high and escalating manpower costs in Singapore, while it's driving our costs up. So we need to find solutions around how to manage our manpower costs better, leveraging technology. That is war around the Red Sea, and this is impacting our cruise business as cruise ships find it difficult to sail down from Europe into Asia via the Red Sea. We were also hit by high ferry ticket prices. It used to be $30 return. Now it's about double that, 70 plus. And this is demotivating passengers from taking day trips to Batam and Bintan. The other one is, of course, it used to be visa-free for foreign travelers. Now, the foreign travelers need to pay visa on arrival, and this also adds up to the cost of going across to the Raja Islands as well as to the Zaru. And lastly, this is a big problem for us because a good thing is next year we are anticipating the arrival of Disney ship, and but as a result, we are lacking of berths that are large enough to berth 3 or more of the larger ships, right? So we definitely need to look for another berth for large ships in order to attract the bigger ships to Singapore. So these are challenges, and these are driving factors behind why we are transforming the way we work, the way we operate our terminal, the way we service our customers, the way we want to enhance safety, security, and hygiene, right, as part of our business moving forward. Next, I talk about ecosystem, right? SSC does not function alone or survive alone without the ecosystem partners, right? And this is very important because in order to be part of the Singapore Maritime PACS ecosystem, we need to do a lot of sharing of data, right? So that all of us, by sharing data, we can leverage on data and do better in servicing our customers, which include the cruise ships, the ferry operators, as well as their passengers. So in this particular context, we have in the middle of this circle is to provide a guest experience for our customers. It's all about customers, right? And ensuring the customers enjoy a journey on both the cruise ships as well as ferries going through our terminal. And the four pillars surrounding the providing the guest experience is to embrace a collaborative team spirit. So we must work together. So to have a synergistic approach to servicing our customers, we must work towards integrated and seamless processes systems end to end. It's very important as part of our digital transformation initiative. All of us must participate actively with growth mindset. We cannot continue to operate status quo because legacy has a lot of challenges in helping to improve operational efficiency, in helping to enhance customer servicing, and so on and so forth. And lastly, because we're sharing data, we also need to ensure the data are protected both from a data integrity point of view as well as privacy point of view. And the outcome is to enhance the customer experience, encourage more growth, improve our insights, as well as future awareness, and lastly, to optimize deployment and sharing of scarce and common resources. So these are the four outcomes that we hope, as part of the Singapore Maritime PACS ecosystem, we can achieve collectively. Now, how are we transforming ourselves, right? So first of all, we need to modernize our terminals and the passenger journey, right, through our terminal. And the ecosystem's common goal is such that we want to provide end customers with seamless end-to-end experience and help ecosystem go paperless, reduce reliance on human workforces, optimize resource utilization, improve operational efficiency, and finally enhance safety, security, and hygiene. And how to do it, right? So basically, through a end-to-end passenger journey, we are going to introduce what we call fast self-service. You've been to airports, you've done self-check-in. We want to implement a similar technology and solution, right, at our ferry terminals, right? So we will be introducing self-service check-in kiosks, self-backdrops, as well as integrating into the new immigration what we call the passport-free processing, and lastly, auto gate boarding. And to do that, we need to implement a new core system called CFOS. I'll talk about more later on, and integrating with the ICA systems so that we can provide a seamless experience for the passenger, and especially so for fly ferry, fly cruise, whereby passengers can enjoy seamless experience all the way from airport into our ferry terminal, onto the ferry to the destination. And of course, we need to leverage on the latest tested and proven technology, for example, cloud, mobile, data sharing platform, using advanced data and video analytics, and eventually AI in terms of augmented intelligence, IoT, and very important, how do we facilitate sharing of data through EDA? And of course, I want to share with you our end goal, which is to develop and implement a digital twin for operations to really provide a holistic, single plane view of the situation picture on the ground. Okay, the next step I want to talk about moving forward for the maritime passenger sector. And it's very important because this will help us to get a crystal ball look into the future when we talk about servicing maritime passengers. Okay, so we are probably about 2 years post-COVID. The cruise and ferry trips have recovered somewhat, but still not to pre-COVID levels, right? But of course, this increasing number of cruise and ferry trips is leading to major demand for fixed resources at our cruise and ferry terminals. Right? Further manpower constraints will be a challenge due to basically we need to start to automate manual processes. We need to start digitizing data, adopting paperless, and pushing out more DIY self-service. so that passengers can self-serve and reduce reliance on our service ambassadors. Aging workforce is always an important consideration. So how do we now look at changing the way we work to allow the aging workers to adapt uh, and, uh, and and yet allowing for better customer servicing, operational efficiency, safety, security, and hygiene. The next step is expectation for seamless and contactless travel at all touch points in the terminals. And this is where One ID concept, well, Singapore Changi Airport has taken the lead with the ICA passport-free clearance. So moving forward, we could be seeing the use of a single or One ID concept from check-in all the way to boarding. Evolution was smart data and event-driven terminals. No longer are we just basically trying our luck, every day servicing passengers and so on. Now we have data, we have abundance of data, and we can use this data to help us in our day-to-day operation as well in our strategic planning moving forward. So adopting digital twin for operation security and maritime collaborative decision-making model are such examples that come from the use of data. And of course, everyone talk about AI, right? So basically, we can use AI to see how we can minimize mishandling and inconveniences to passengers and provide a very seamless and excellent guest experience as the passengers go through our terminals. And lastly, when with COVID have taught us a lesson, we need to prepare for future pandemic events. So what it means is that we need to focus on digitizing the data, digitization of the processes. We need to collect data. We need to collaborate and share the data so that it's a win-win for all the ecosystem. We need to apply analytics and see whether we can do better prediction, prescription moving forward to assist operation in the business. Automation is very key. As I say, we need to reduce reliance on manpower. And how do we make use of data? How do we make use of AI so that we can have event-driven alerts and workflow that will augment decision making, that will assist operation and business in anticipating proactively potential incidents or issues so that we can implement follow-up actions to quickly rectify before it inconvenience the passengers. And lastly, AI-augmented decision making, right? So we will basically begin making use of data, AI capability to augment the decision making by the individuals and not to automate decision making, because the human being must still be in the middle of all decision making. Now, this is our vision at the end of the day, and this is the digital terminal system of systems, right? So basically leveraging of data, leveraging of data from sensors, leveraging AI, leveraging workflow, and so on and so forth. We can actually help to improve the ground situation awareness so that all parties can have access to the same information and able to work together to resolve issues, to enhance the customer servicing experience. And the foundation of which of this system of systems is about data sharing, about event-driven concepts. These are the foundation blocks enabling a digital terminal. And this will be a goal at the end of our 5-year digital transformation journey. Okay, so quickly I should share with you data, right? Using data is good, but there are challenges like others, right? We know about the importance of data, but we also have encountered challenges. And these are challenges that we need to work together to overcome so that the ecosystem can share and benefit from the sharing of such data. Okay, so some of the experience that we have encountered that are making life a bit more challenging in terms of sharing data. Reluctance to share data, right? And this is expected so because all the federal operators actually competing one another. For them to share passenger data is going to be very challenging, right? And of course, how do you trust the data, right? Integrity of data. Misuse of data, right? I think there's always this challenge whereby I give you data, you start to misuse it, you start to give it to your competitor, and it will basically impact my business. Timeliness of data. So data must be timely, right? If you give me a data of last week, it will not help a lot because it's already a dated data. So what I need is data that is available now or in the near future to facilitate decision making processing of passengers. misunderstanding data, right? So basically, I give you a piece of data and may misinterpret what this data means. So what's important is we need to have a very standard data dictionary, data semantics, so that we share the data and all of us know what this data means. And lastly, noise, right? Most of us, a lot of us actually gather data for the sake of gathering data, right? So basically with large data sets, but most of the data are are noise, right? Too much irrelevant data. So how do we now make sure that we only collect data that we need and not to over collect data? So these are some of the challenges we have encountered over time, and it's very important for us to find ways and means to address some of these challenges before we can actually do effective data sharing and event-driven kind of concepts. Well, basically is that I've done some research in the past, and these are some of the common data methods. And the one that is basically of interest would be the hub and spoke integration, whereby basically data can be published onto a single centralized mechanism, and then others who are interested in the data can subscribe and take those data out. As part of the standardization of interoperability between sensors and IoT devices and so on, we actually come up with a sample architecture to support data sharing across enterprise using standards, right? So there are many interface mechanism protocols available in the market today, but we cannot have one size fit all. You have to be very selective depending on the characteristic and the behavior of each of these interface methods. Well, in here, I have mentioned about Solace, I mentioned about APIs, I mentioned about DDS. Of course, I've least mentioned SFTP and so on and so forth, right? So each of these interface means or methods have its unique characteristics, their pros and cons, and basically is that they will be very effective when used in certain situation and least effective in other situation, right? So what I've painted here is that publish and subscribe is very good from an events point of view, right? If the source got some information to share, you can actually publish, and the rest of the recipient who needs the information to process or follow up actions, they can actually subscribe. So that's basically one example of pops up that we talk about. So less is in this space. Now, the other architecture we're talking about is how do we make sense of IoT, right? So these are sensing points. These are typical examples of how we deployed IoT sensors. So either it's a sensor subsystem or edge sensor subsystem or third-party systems related services. And we have an integration layer. And so that can be used as the sensor integration or IoT platform. And some data that can be shared includes, the long queue or waiting time at the taxi queue, illegal intrusion, right? I can trigger some alerts, and the automated workflow to tell the security officers, please go and check this particular illegal intrusion incident. The number of taxis within complex, right? So we can actually measure supply and demand, right, of taxis available for passengers during peak and off-peak period. And of course, if there are not enough taxis, then what do you do as a follow-on, right? Passenger clearing at a touch point. So if we have kiosks distributed throughout the airport, can we, because of congestion one area, redirect passengers to a least congested area, so that we can spread the load and in a way help to minimize inconvenience and the queuing time for passengers, and yet and at the end give them a better experience as they go through a terminal. And of course, changes to ferry schedule could be an example, right? If a ferry is delayed by half an hour, there will be implications. So how do we propagate this delay information to the rest of the ecosystem so that they can manage this delay more efficiently and effectively, right? And of course, all this data can flow into sensor lake and so on and so forth for fusion. So this is a example of an event-driven architecture from an IoT sense-making point of view. And a typical use case that we can apply is baggage, right? All of us travel, right? How do you know that the baggage actually come with you on board the aircraft, right? So this is a concept that we have deployed previously in my old job at Changi. So we provide visibility of bags to customers, and we even went one step further. We actually did a POC, right, to basically look at incoming bags and whether income bags, can catch on to the outgoing flight. So it can basically use this EDA concept to trigger alerts, workflow, or or information, right, to the necessary stakeholders so that they can follow up. Right. So here is some examples where we can use event-driven concept for bag processing at the airport, at the ferry terminal. So for example, to derive what bags are classified hot bag, hot transfer bags, so that action can be taken to quickly address how to we move the hot transfer bags through the system quickly so they can get on to the outgoing flight or vessels. Go no go packs bag. So if a bag is stuck somewhere, now the decision is to be cut whether to let the passenger go or let the passenger be offloaded at this station so that the bags and the packs can go onto the next flight. Right. So this is just one example how this EDA and data sharing can be used effectively in real life. Importance of standardizing data transfers, right? So we definitely need to standardize data transfers in one form or the other because it has implication. One implication is that total cost of ownership can actually be managed, right? Because otherwise you will spend a lot of money just to do data transfer without benefiting from data transfers. Harness reusability. Always go back to Lego blocks, right? So Lego have built foundation blocks and can use the different blocks to build certain shapes, right? So same thing here, right? Harness reusability, be it with APIs, topics, or XML interfaces. Simplify information security protection posture and measures, right? So basically, at the end of the day, cybersecurity and ensuring data integrity are very important consideration. So how do we simplify so as to manage better manage costs and adopt fit for purpose data transfer methods, right? As I say, not all methods fit for one fit all kind of purposes. We need to identify which transfer protocol really meet your requirements, right? So when you use PubSub, when you use messaging, and when you use API, and so on and so forth. Okay. And lastly, standards, right? There are standards available in the industry already, so adopt standards so that this will help to improve interoperability and communication between parties and sensors and systems. Now, I've come to the end of my presentation, and very important at the end is to summarize, to give you some key takeaways so they can remember, right? As I say, no one method fits all the purposes, right? And choose the method that best meet the requirements. And some of the consideration include performance, integrity, consistency, availability, resiliency, security, and maintainability, right? So it's either an all kind of situation, but we need to identify which is most important criteria and choose a interface method that will meet those requirements. Always good to have architectures and standards to guide design, implementation, maintenance. So every time you need to have a vision, a roadmap, or an architecture in front of you so that when you build your environment, you actually follow very strictly the architectural design. And this will help you to maintain cost, maintain direction, and so on and so forth. And lastly, right, event-driven architecture or concept will help organizations improve on their ground situational awareness so that they can be more proactive instead of reactive to potential incidents. And it's very important when we have to enhance, have to provide customer services, right, to our customers, passengers, and so on and so forth. Right. So those are the 4 key takeaways. Hopefully you can remember them at the end of this session. And before I go, we have done some assessment. So we have actually participated in this, what we call digital accelerator index, to determine where we are vis-a-vis our counterparts, our other companies in the same sector, right, in terms of digital adoption. So glad to say that we are in the purple line, right? So we are literate. We're not starters, we're literate, we're in the middle. But our goal is to become a performer, hopefully by next year. And we aspire to mention and see other local SMEs. Of course, it's still a long way to basically exceed the performances of SMEs in other global economies. And these are some of the action plans that we've put in place to basically help us to meet our target by 25, 26. And lastly, right, I need to kind of like present some accolades recognizing our effort in the whole digital transformation journey. We started, slightly before end of COVID in 2021, and we are year 3. We have 2 more years to go. and glad that the industry have recognized us. So we want a recognition of excellence for our digital transformation effort in adopting a new core departure control system. And we also recognized by CEDA, which is the aviation market leader in providing airport and airline systems, right? So today we work very closely with them. This is the self-boarding gate at Tanah Merah. You can see, the number of passengers we can clear within 15 minutes, to help operations on the ground. And lastly, we were recognized as we were shortlisted in the Business Transformation Impact Award by SSON. Very happy to be, recognized for our effort in the digital transformation. Well, we are almost the end of the current terminal modernization at Tanah Merah. We're going to start work at the new interim ferry cruise terminal in a year's time. So hopefully by 2026, with all our digital transformation initiative implemented, we should be able to provide better, seamless, contactless experience for passengers going through our terminal. And with that, I thank you for your attention. And if you want to get in touch with me, this is my email. And have a good day. Bye-bye.